everybody, it's Hanaconda, and welcome to a brand new episode of What's Lost Got to Do with It. I am so excited because I got a new camera. Woohoo! So hopefully the video is looking a little bit better. I hope my sound is a little bit better. I'm doing everything to make sure that the listening experience of What Lost Got to Do with It is absolutely spiffy, because I know we started the series off while I was, in the studio and everything. And while it was lovely and glamorous and fabulous, it is nice being able to do it in my drag room. I feel like, it's like a calming place, and it's nice to invite you all into my home and into the place where my creative juices flow and the magic happens. So I'm really hoping you're enjoying it. We've had some really great feedback from the last few episodes, and I'm just overwhelmed and grateful. And I thank you so much for listening and getting on board with this. I feel it helps me in my day-to-day, knowing that I can get these feelings out, and I'm hoping that you out there feel less alone. And today I've got an incredibly special guest, this superstar drag king, Sexy Galexy, originally from Perth, then has traveled the world, lived in Sydney, lived in Melbourne, and now living in Sydney again. So I get to work with Sexy quite often on a Wednesday night. Sexy Galexy is just a sensational entertainer and a sensational drag king. I think with the platform that I get in this podcast, I really want to have conversations with people from all different walks of life, and also champion the people that are in my life that I adore, and I want you out there to adore as well. And Sexy is one of them. And we have such a beautiful conversation. We touch on mental health. We touch on being a woman in this industry. We talk menopause, which I'm excited to learn about. I as a man, I don't experience menopause. So to talk about that, I'm hoping some of our listeners out there can feel less alone as you're going through the pause, babes. But it is such a beautiful conversation, and Sexy really just opens up and takes us through her life, and I'm just so honored. We're going to take a break, and we're going to be back with Sexy Galexy. So buckle up, it's going to get hot. Sexy Galexy right after this. This episode of What's Lost Got to Do with It is proudly brought to you by our beautiful sponsors at BetterHelp. All right, my beautiful friends, let's talk numbers. I don't usually talk numbers because I'm a drag queen, and drag queens and numbers don't usually go together. But when it comes to therapy, we need to crunch those numbers. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session. Crazy, and it adds up so fast. But with BetterHelp online therapy, you can save on average up to 50% per session. Oh, anything for a saving these days, I tell you what. With BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big time on cost and on time. Therapy needs to feel accessible and needs to be accessible. It is not like a luxury. It is something that should be there for all of us when we get into difficult times. So with online therapy, you get quality care at a price that makes sense and can help you with anything from anxiety to everyday stress. Your mental health is worth it, and it is so important that you put in that time. And now it's all within reach with BetterHelp. I am an advocate for therapy, and especially doing this podcast where we talk about such deep things. Sometimes the mental strain can be quite difficult, but being able to talk it out with my therapist always, always, always helps me and sort of relieves the stresses of our day-to-day life. And I feel clearer and feel happier and get to go through life being as gay and as fabulous as I can. And I want that for you. So, with With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, serving over 5 million people globally. It's convenient too, and you can join a session with just the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time, which is amazing. So if one therapist doesn't fit, feel free to swap and find the right fit, because that is also incredibly important, that you have a therapist that works for you. So, my listeners of What's Lost Got to Do with It, your mental health journey can start now. So visit betterhelp.com/what's today to get 10% off your first month. That is better, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/what's and you can get 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. Your mental health and your well-being is so worth it, my beautiful friends. So go and visit our beautiful friends at BetterHelp and get your therapy journey on the way. We love you and thank you, BetterHelp. Welcome back, everybody, to What's Lost Got to Do with It. I am so thrilled and overjoyed to welcome to the podcast this absolutely sensational human being who I've adored and loved for bloody forever. It is drag king legend, Sexy Galexy! Yes! Oh, welcome to the pod, babes. It's so good to
Hello,
have
fellow
you.
personality.
I know. So I'm from Perth originally, and so is Sexy, which is, I don't think we met in Perth though.
No, we didn't meet in Perth.
No, but I met your parents in Perth.
You met my parents. They always ask about you.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
because I was doing a gig for this, I think it's like a jewelry company, and your parents avid buyers of their jewelry. So they came to
Yes.
their client party and stuff. Yeah, I did it for a few years, so I got to see your parents quite a bit, which was quite nice.
I don't think my dad had ever seen me perform then. So what was great about that, I think they were so surprised of your reaction towards me and and
Oh,
and my career, because I'm really not sure what he thought about my career.
yeah.
Because we only got close later on in life. So before that, I have no idea what they thought I did.
So they had no idea that you did drag.
They knew I did drag, but in the context of
Oh,
what that
yeah.
meant, because they're old schools, I think they were quite chuffed about the whole thing. And they were like, oh, okay, I've done something that means something to other people. And so they took a very beautiful interest in my career from then. And they actually flew out when I was living in Melbourne, they flew over to chill out. And I was doing a drag brunch lunch with Frock Hudson. And it was his camp story, singing drag. And they came to that. And it was sensory experience. And we got my dad to sniff amyl, which was great in the
Ah!
80s. He had no clue what it was. It was great.
That is what drag is at its finest. Getting someone to
Yeah.
sniff amyl.
Yeah. I
Especially
mean,
a dad.
yeah. He's an adventurous sort of guy. So it was like, yeah, great.
I love that. That actually warms my heart because you're for me and growing up in Perth, even though I hadn't met you in Perth, your legacy in Perth was just so strong. And at that time there wasn't, I think there was Instagram and Facebook at that point. So I was following you and I could see all the magic you were making. So did you start doing drag in Perth?
Yeah, in 1993.
93.
Yeah,
Far
yeah.
out.
Well, that was crazy. My drag was so bad, but I've got the videos of my first show and you can see the potential. You can see that I get it, and I
Yeah.
just need to get makeup skills, costume skills, glamour skills, hair skills, like all the skills. There was no skills there at all, but the ideas were there.
Yeah. But
Um,
that's the thing, that you can't teach.
Yeah, and the passion was there. I had that passion, and you could see that that was going into the shows because I was putting so much effort into the ideas. The other side of it, because I grew up as a tomboy, because I grew up in a very misogynistic environment, growing
Mhm.
up in the 70s and 80s, and my parents were a lot older than me as well. So they grew up in that. So they didn't understand anything different. So I really said no to anything girly. And so when I started doing drag, I was like, I have no idea about anything about makeup. I'd never put makeup on. I knew nothing about costuming because I just went, no, for so long. And then that's when I started opening up and going, oh, yeah, right. Makeup and costumes and all this sort of stuff is not necessarily feminine. And that's how my mind started going. But then I really embraced glamour, and glamour in the aspect of seeing it through a drag queen's eyes.
Because your drag is very high camp drag king and every detail. So you could tell from 1993, you could tell you've learnt a ton. Was that something that, as you found and developed yourself as a drag artist, did you find harmony with your masculinity and your femininity to create the character we see now?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a lot of years to find my identity because I had quite an identity crisis when
Mm,
I was a young person. So with my performance, I thought I was a drag queen, and then I got into doing alternative performance. And because no one ever took me under their wing, like I was a woman performing, so everyone was like, whatever. So there wasn't a lot of spaces for me or a community to embrace me and I'd have a drag mother or something like that. So none of that stuff happened. So I went out into the world and just tried absolutely everything. And that's where I learned how to face paint. So I got body paints and I'd paint myself and then I'd meet other queer people and then be influenced by them and then got into real club kid stuff and went through a phase of let's try and freak people out as much as possible.
love it.
And every day was dress ups. And then it really was developing my identity slowly, step by step. What is it that I want to do? And then in 1999, Lottle, for anyone you don't know, is Lesbians on the Loose, a magazine that ran for a very long time in Australia, lesbian magazine. On the front cover was Divine on the Behinds, which is a drag king and their backup dancers. And it said drag king. And I know the word drag king was fluffing around in the early 90s with Moby Dick, Club Casanova in New York, and
Mhm.
was starting to spread. And that's the first time I'd actually seen it or heard of it because this is
Wow.
before social media. So information was basically spread with word of mouth or a newspaper or our gay mags. And when I saw Drag King, I was like, I can't believe I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Whole time I've been struggling to be a drag queen and I'm not allowed to be, yet right, drag king. I was like, yeah, I get it. And it was interesting just before then as well. My name Sexy Galexy had been created and I changed my name to Sexy Galexy. Yes, I
I
changed
love
my
it.
default, my name's Sexy.
It's the best.
And then it was like I found my name and then it was like drag king. And I thought, great, I can do all the things I want to do in drag and just whack a mustache on and put a sock down my pants.
Mm.
And then, and then that's when I really felt like I had my drag identity.
That's so fascinating. I long for the days of when things didn't travel so fast. And I know it's probably more challenging, but like that organic word of mouth through a magazine, and that's how we connected and learnt things. I really love that element of your story. That blows my mind. Is that's how information traveled? Whereas now it's just there, a click of a button and it's there.
Yeah.
You
Spending
go,
that time and discovering it in yourself, it means something.
yeah, did you find it was deeper, like a deeper connection?
What I've found is that I've spent my life trying lots of different things. And I
Yeah.
think that's what happens when you're left to your own devices is that you experiment. And I
Mm,
think that is lost, that art of experimentation, because people are just copying one another now.
yeah.
And it's like the cookie cutter drag that's happening is because they're not allowing themselves to discover who they are through not really understanding what's happening around them by just experimenting, going, what does that look like? Or what does this look like? Or I think a lot of that's lost.
Yeah, do you think it's like they're scared to fail? Because I think there's an element of now that everybody gets a medal kind of
Yeah,
culture.
but also
Um,
everything's videoed and photographed. So of
yeah,
course you would fear that because you can't step out of line now without somebody videoing you and calling you a Karen
yeah,
or calling you something. So of course it's really, I feel sad that no one has that as young people don't know what privacy is anymore. Or that
yeah. That's so
they can go
fascinating, isn't
out
it?
and do bad drag, but the only people they're going to see people in the club. But then those people in the club slow, and this is what happened in Perth. They saw me transform. They saw me try all these different things. They saw me fail. They saw me look amazing. They saw me do something terrible. They saw me do something really great. They saw me hit my mark. And Perth saw me do all my transformations and just try it. And I think that's why they feel like they're connected to me and I'm connected with them, is because then they saw me just go vroom when I went to Sydney
Yeah.
because I'd spent all those 10 years experimenting and then all of a sudden it clicked.
Yeah, because they were part of the journey with you. They would be there supporting you, and they see the ups
Yeah.
and downs. Feel the same way. And Perth is a especially the queer community, that I got the tail end of the good stuff, where
Yeah.
people were invested in us. They would see the potential. They would love the fact that everyone was different. There was no two artists were the same.
Yeah.
They might have crossover things that, happened, but fundamentally there was something they liked about each of us. And they were all generally, sometimes they were assholes, but like most of the time they were very supportive. They wanted to, like, they champion us.
Because I look back at the old school drag back then, and everybody had their brand. Everybody had
Mm,
quite a unique brand about them.
their selling point. What is it?
Yeah.
The USI, the unique selling. Oh no, USP, the unique selling point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it sold some of them, I don't know, but they went down in history though.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Every time you go back, you always you end up talking about like the divas or the people that were performing back in the day that are no longer around, or they'd come out. You see someone that hasn't done drag for 10 years and they'd be pop out to connections and they're like, hello. But they still, I don't know, it was just a very different sense of community and uniting. I know that it was hard at the start to break into with drag queens and whatnot. Did you end up finding that sort of space? Or did you just carve it out yourself and you just said, I'm here, let's do it?
Well, when I hit Sydney, I really had to carve it out for myself because we weren't having those conversations about gender, mental
Mm,
health, and having that equality. It was still all of my generation, we were still brought up in a misogynistic environment. And,
yeah.
and all that subliminal belief systems that
Mm,
women were basically pushed to the side and seen and not heard, not even seen. And it was just like, for instance, the Mardi Gras was all men performing, except if you
yeah.
wanted to be a backup dancer and that sort of thing. But to see a lead female was really unusual. But when I got to Sydney and I really started forging my way, I just had so much energy. I was just nuts. I was like, I want this and I'm going to get it. So people didn't know I've been performing for 10 years. And so I was like, I've got my shtick. I want to get in. So I really got in there and got opportunities. And luckily, there were some Perth people running some stuff and they got me in doing the most amazing shows. So we don't see this now. So there used to be a Pride. Sorry if anyone remembers this a different way. This is how my memory remembers it. I think it was New Year's Eve. It was a Pride, and it was at the freaking Horton Pavilion. I got asked to do a drag king show, a midnight drag king show, and we had this huge wedding cake stage, and the
Yeah.
top spun around, and I had maybe 10 other women, and we were all. And with no budget, I did all the costuming.
Oh, drag never had budget, did it? Ever.
It was like this tiny budget, make all the costumes, like whip it out. Everyone
Yeah.
was a different character from the city. We were all drag kings, and I was Prince at the top, and we did Cream and Let's Go Crazy. And that was amazing. And then I got Sleazeball 2002, where I did women in uniform, and we had 25 dancers. And so we painted their uniforms in coloured latex. And there was this moment where we were all lined up against the front, and then all the women just went, and in 1 second, there was these topless women on stage, 25 topless women. I mean, it was amazing. What was great about back then, our community was big. Before the Yes Vote, before technology and mobile phones, where we all used to go out
Yeah.
to find our community, find our people, to date, all that sort of stuff. We had these big parties.
Yeah.
And I
And it'll
looked,
be everyone. Like everyone.
everyone would go out. You could go out because you knew people that were going to be out and about. So you just
Yeah.
go out whatever night of the week, just go there, go here. There's people that I do miss those days. It's a shame, but
Yeah, me
obviously
too.
time does change and you have to adapt to that. But those moments in my early Sexy Galexy career were amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. I do think fondly because I did come, like, I was at the tail end of before technology took over. So I found my place by going out, went to the court, and I knew I could go out any night of the week and I would have people there that I knew. And I don't know, there's a sense of loss that I'm very nostalgic for it, I think. But
Yeah,
I get,
it is a loss. We've lost our
yeah,
community. I did Perth Pride. I think it was the last Perth Pride that I did. I literally was naked. I dyed my pubic hair red because I was a demon, and I just had accessories on. I had a phase in Perth where I was naked a lot.
love that. Oh, I love it. Where was this at Connections?
No, it was at a warehouse just out of Perth. We got buses to go out there. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a big warehouse.
Love it. I love a warehouse party.
Oh,
They
it was
don't
great.
do it like they used to.
Yeah. There's no warehouses, though. They're all bloody apartments, aren't they?
Yeah. And then the noise complaints and the police will turn up, arrest us. Have you been arrested before? Have you in the 90s? Did you ever get
No,
arrested?
I haven't been arrested, but I've been at a house where we got raided. It was 4 police dogs and about 12 cops. So obviously they were looking for something. I,
Yeah.
I went over to my friend's place for a cup of tea. This was in Perth. Little did I know they were a drug dealer. I was stupid. I had no clue.
Everyone was a drug dealer at one point.
Oh, yeah. So that was a bit scary. They had us all against the wall.
Jesus Christ. They
Yeah.
make, tough. It makes you thick skin, I tell you.
Yeah.
But there was a drag, I'm sure she was a drag queen in Perth, and she was a woman. Was it
Rachel.
Sabrina? Rachel.
Rachel
Rachel.
Raylene.
Right,
She
right.
was amazing.
Yeah.
She is one of the best female drag queens that will ever live.
Yeah, because we always talk about her. Like when I started, like we always talked about Rachel. There was a photo of Rachel, and people just revered her, and she was a woman doing drag, and she was a drag queen as
It
well.
was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you cross paths with her? Did you have
We used to
interactions
live
with her?
together.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to live together. I look back and I go, why didn't I get makeup tips off Rachel?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
But did she ever double in being a drag king as well?
No, because back then I was doing like I said, I was doing lots of different sorts of performance.
Oh, so this is in like your experimental phase.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, the house was a bit debauched.
Having two like artists living in a house, it's bound to be.
We lived opposite the beat in Hyde Park.
Oh
So
shit.
out my bedroom window at 5 o'clock, I would see all the action happening.
It's not always fun, not always pleasant.
Those straight businessmen knew what they were walking into. They would have walked away.
But they ended up going in and real going for it, I bet. Like when I started, my experience was there was drag kings on the scene performing. There was women doing drag. It was like just you did what you did. We all started performing, and you'd work up your way up the ranks and whatever. Have you noticed sort of a shift in the perspective of drag kings now? Because for us as a community, for me, in my experience, it's like it's always been a part of our community. But then I'm shocked when people are like, a drag king, what's going on? Have you started to see that develop and grow more?
No.
Okay.
No, because of RuPaul's Drag Race, a lot of our audiences now is mixed. So they don't know anything about drag kings because they don't see us on that main platform. And a lot of people won't even think to hire a drag king. So we miss out on so much work because we're still in the closet in a way. I rarely perform. I hustle my gigs because there's really not a lot out there for me. And is it now because I'm a grey-haired lady that there's that whole thing about middle-aged women becoming invisible? You start noticing it, but then you're like, is it one of those subliminal things that I don't get booked because I'm older? There's a drag king event happening to happen this weekend. I can't remember, but I don't get even a look in the younger community. I don't get booked at all. So they all have their community. And is that because obviously I don't go out like I used to? And is that because of that? They're just booking people that are in that younger circle? Yeah. So for me, I couldn't tell you what's happening with a lot of those younger drag kings because they're having a completely different experience to what I'm having as well. It's interesting waters.
It really does break my heart. And I like, now that I've been through the Drag Race machine, I want to see drag kings on the show. I think you would be like, you're my number one pick to ever represent Australia as a drag artist and a drag king on Drag Race.
I mean, I think because England has an open mind like we do in that respect, like England is quirky like we are, and having Victoria Stone, I thought, they're definitely going to have drag king or something in there in the next. So it's a shame that they haven't, because I just think, wow, but we think differently. I think we're a bit more open-minded in that respect, and I'm
Mm.
surprised that we haven't yet.
And it's such a because they always about what can they sell, whatever. It's such an untapped market
Oh,
that I
it
that I
is.
think would sell to so many people. Hearing your stories and your journey, it's for me, it's a no-brainer. I don't understand how it hasn't
Yeah,
happened yet.
and that's how I think in terms of a show, you want to make money. I think that's definitely a point of difference. People are going to go, oh my God, let's watch it because they've
Yeah,
got a point of difference. So who knows? Look, I keep putting it out there. I just think if it happens,
yeah,
I
and
would love the extra promotion.
oh yeah, but that's what it is. It's
To get
glorified
some views
promotion. It's a stepping stone to something else.
before I die.
Yeah. The thing as well is because often you hear people go, "Oh, a drag king isn't as glamorous or as over the top
Yeah,
or
but
whatever as a drag
they're
queen,"
not
which
very
is
worldly,
bullshit.
are they? If
No,
they
not at
say that,
all.
they haven't seen Land Insider, they haven't seen Spikey Van
Yeah,
Dyke, they haven't seen Freddie
Freddie
Mercury,
Merkin. Yeah,
or
like
yeah, there's a million of them, million
yeah,
of
but then as well, that blows my mind is that there is a whole other side of being a drag king, and they serve like what realness, how we look. They want the girly girls. There is really like hot drag kings that do like realness as well. It's just
yeah.
it's all runs parallel, and it just blows my mind that we're
But
meant to be
it's
this.
like what I said, it's that subliminal programming that we're brought up that women are second class citizens, and we are. And it's like in every industry where nothing is changing. There's little bits of change that people can seem like, oh, things are changing. But when you talk to people or hear other interviews with other women, it's still the same in a lot of ways. It's some people, they do make the change and they're amazing because not
Mm,
everybody thinks like that. But then there's that old school thinking, and you've just got those a-holes that don't want to change, and a lot of
yeah,
times they're running a lot of stuff, so you just got to wait for them to basically, it's a
kick
waiting
the
game
bucket.
for them to
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
you know?
kick the bucket, and out they go, and in we come, and make it
Yeah.
fabulous.
So I just read a thread about the White Lotus and how they paid everybody equally because that's what they believe in. And I thought,
Yeah,
yeah, great. There's beautiful people out there that believe that equality. And I know that there's a lot of young people that and a lot of young men that think really differently. And yeah, it's just that waiting game, I think, to the right people get into the
mm,
right positions and we can see a bit more
yeah.
because women have changed enough. We've done enough. We've done our job. There's nothing more we can do.
Yeah, it's not on you as it's not for women to do
mean,
anything more.
I have screamed and shouted and made many people uncomfortable, scratching my way in the Sydney drag scene back in the day. So I don't want to do that anymore. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy what is there for me.
Yeah, it's been a joy. Like we've got to work a little bit more together, and now DJing on a Wednesday night at Universal. It's
I love that.
you're just so like you just fill a room and you have just you radiate joy in your drag. I always fascinated by each sort of drag artist where they're like what fuels them, what are the things that you like to bring into your drag, and where do you find that inspiration?
I think when I'm out socially, I love to make people feel really comfortable. And
Mm,
because I had a lot of social anxiety, I had a lot of mental health problems, I used to think of myself in such horrible ways, but I've spent a lot of years dealing with that. So when I'm in a social situation, I want to make sure that I feel responsible that if anyone approaches me, I'm going to give them my full attention and I'm going to make them feel just as great. You know, if they're
mm,
a fan of me or they're enjoying my music or they're coming to say hello, I'm going to give them just as much attention and respect as they're giving me. And I used to love that. I love hosting events because I just want to give people good energy. I want to feel that the room is filled with that good energy. And if I've what I used to do back in the day, if I'd see someone sitting by themselves or uncomfortable, I'd go and talk to them. And
yeah.
then I'd find out either they're really shy or they're from another country, and I'd go and introduce them to people. And that's the sort of joy that I like to do
Mm,
in that sort of position out and about, because in drag, I think there's that responsibility. I'm not an extrovert where I'm going to be like, whoa, and get everybody's attention. I'm more of a one-on-one person. So I'll do it quite more of on a quiet scale.
yeah, but it's
Like,
fascinating that your drag is so extroverted in itself, so you don't really need to be extroverted because
no,
it does the work for you.
yeah, that's it. Your laugh.
Oh, babes, you get it really does, honestly. But I, yeah, you always just do brighten up a space, like visually, but like you radiate that warmth. And every time I'm around you or I see you in the room, you go, oh, Sexy's here. And it just fills you with comfort. So I hope you're feeling that, because it radiates to us and we feel that. It's
Yeah, because
really
I pay
special.
attention to the room. Now that I'm on that DJ platform and I'm looking around, I'm constantly looking at who's in the room. It's not just about what I'm playing. And because I'm new to DJ, I'm really constantly looking around in that room and going, is this the vibe? What do people want? Who's in the room? Are they dancing? Are they singing along?
Yeah.
If I play a quirky song that I think's great and going, let's see who the weirdos are in the room. And then I see people singing, I've just got the joy,
Yeah.
and then I want to get their attention. I'm like, yeah.
But that's the skill in it. That comes back to that skill that you had when you started doing drag. That you know how to read a space, you know how to read a room,
Yeah.
you understand that. You can't really teach. That's very difficult to teach. Even now, I see some kids and I'm like, you don't understand the hustle and understand that you can't do everything that you want to do all the time. Sometimes you got to play to the people that are in the room. This podcast is like about loss. But when I think about loss, I think, yes, it's the journey that you go through after you've lost something in your life, whatever it may be. But the thing that I want to focus on and I try to focus on is the things that we learn and where we go. And has there been any significant losses in your life that have affected your drag or affected you as a person that has taken you on this journey to where you are now?
My mind.
Yes, we've never had that. I love that.
I lost my mind and I don't remember. No, I do. It keeps going. And I lost it in my mid-40s
Yeah.
when menopause started.
Oh, the pause.
The pause. Yeah, so that's when my progesterone and my estrogen decide I thought I'm just going to go. And then we all have different symptoms, and mine was my mind.
Wow. So is it like when you say your mind, was it just mental, was it like depression? Was it anxiety? How was it like, or just things were going? Like, how did you
Well, we
feel?
just the memory
The
and the
memory.
brain fog. That's why I was
Wow.
before trying to remember names, and I was like, I could
Yeah.
see them. No, I don't even go there sometimes. Sometimes I'll have to sit there and concentrate to remember somebody's name. And it might be 2 seconds to the outside world, but to me, it feels like a lifetime. And I'll sit there and I'll go, let it come to me, let it come to me. Like people I've known, like you, today I was thinking about you and I thought,
What's her name?
Hannah. Oh,
Wow. Is
yeah.
that a common symptom as you're going through menopause? Do many
Look,
women experience that?
yes, it is.
Really?
It's really hard if you're in a professional setting and you're at a meeting and you're working with a lot of men, and it's really been hard for women because you're sitting there and you have to explain yourself and you go back to basic words because you're trying to fill in because you can't remember half of the words you just want to try and say, and so you look like an idiot and
It's
you're
kind of
like,
like being tongue-tied almost.
yeah, because the words
Are there?
it's just out of grasp where you slide in something else or the long way to explain something like charades because you can't remember the word. And yes, awful. And so
Oh,
I started going on hormones because I realized I couldn't host anymore because I was stressing out hosting on stage because I couldn't remember the person that I was hosting with. I couldn't remember, what are we doing here? Who's the drag performer that's on next? Like what? I couldn't remember anything.
yeah.
And I'd have like notes and I was stressing out and so I was like, okay, because you can't go on hormones straight away. Because you're in perimenopause, and the doctors are measuring your hormones. You go, you can't go on hormones until you haven't bled for a year. That took
A year.
6 years.
Holy.
Yeah.
And
And
so you're living in this state of confusion.
the hot flushes I loved because it felt like I was in a sauna. I go, hot flush. I loved it. So I'm not much of a sweater, so
Yeah.
I didn't get the full beads. I just go bright red and be like,
I would hate it. I hate being hot. I'm like, I've got a fan here, I've got a fan there. I'm like, cool me down.
So once I could get on them, I was like, great. My mind's not 100% because now through menopause, I've got lots of stomach issues because your stomach is connected to your brain. So I have to eat very specifically, very healthily, I can't have wheat, corn, gluten, rice, dairy.
What do you eat? Air?
I eat like a viper. See, I'm a very good cook. Very good
Uh,
cook.
and then that's the thing. If you're a good cook, anything can taste
I
magic.
worked in kitchens for 15 years.
What?
So to support my entertainment, because my first ever job I was a kitchen hand, and so then that just developed, and I from doing dishes, I learned how to prep food, and then I got this job where I was a kitchen hand, and the woman who was cooking was terrible, so I got her job. I persuaded her to be front of house, so then I swooped in and grabbed her job, and then from there I just developed my abilities. And when I became a vegan in 1995, I then developed my cooking skills because there was nowhere to eat back then if you're a vegan.
Yeah.
And I developed my skills. So now I eat beautifully. I eat better than restaurant food. I should take photos of my food because the meal that
I
I made
think you
last
should.
night was absolutely incredible. People don't realize that you've got to train your taste buds as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give yourself 3 months of eating new food, you'll end up liking it. You've got to give something up, and you've just got to deal with the fact that the new food you're eating is going to taste like cardboard for a while. And then all of a sudden, everything changes.
That's so, yeah, yeah, but it's like everything in your body. You just have to acclimatize and adapt to it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sound off in the comments, everyone. If you want Sexy to start posting food, maybe that's where you need to be. You need to be like making veganism and vegan food like in drag for the people.
Yeah. Well, during lockdown, Kerry Stanley, my partner,
We love Kerry, incredible hairstylist,
Kerry makeup
artist,
artist extraordinaire.
and yeah.
Her and Dolly Diamond did a show called, I can't even remember the name. Look, I
I
can't remember the name
I
of
can't even.
the
I think I remember they were doing cooking together.
house party, Kerry and Dolly.
Yeah,
And
yes, I
anyway, so
remember.
I had a small segment on. I had a couple of different segments because I knew the people on it.
Yeah,
And I did. It was Get Sexy in the Kitchen, and
love
I
it.
think I only ever did one episode before they canned it because they had to get other people in, and I ended up doing another thing. But yeah,
This has got. I love it. I think we need to bring Sexy in the Kitchen back. Get Sexy in the Kitchen.
yeah.
I think because that's the thing. I think the veganism, that the content that is out there now is a lot of vegans shaming people for eating meat or whatever. But it just needs to be. It doesn't need to be a pressure thing. It needs to be a
I don't like
welcome
shaming.
in.
If someone can sit there and eat the biggest T-bone steak of their life, I'm not going to be offended by it. I don't care because all I care about is what I do. I
Yeah.
don't get offended by other people. It's their choice. If they want to do that, good on them. I don't care.
It's too hard. Wasting time being offended by other people
Yeah.
limits the amount of capacity that you have to be just fabulous in your own life. Too
But
much.
you've got to teach yourself not to be offended. And I started doing a lot of mental health work on myself in my early 40s. And I'm glad I did it because now going through menopause, I didn't have any emotional backlash when the hormones when I lost my hormones and lost my mind.
When they run away.
And they ran away. So all I had to do with basically all I had to deal with was physical stuff. Because
Yeah.
I cured myself of anxiety, I cured myself of PTSD, I cured myself of all the stuff that I had. And when I lost all that stuff, I was like, I've got to work out what's happening with my body.
And because that's the thing, we only got one body and we got to listen to her. Whatever she's saying, you got to fine tune it.
Yeah. And your body will whinge and your body will crack it if you change stuff up because it doesn't like it. Mine can, when we give something up, when we have to change something, something will crack it.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to something and it goes, no, I don't want to eat sugar. So you'll have massive cravings. So you've just got to sit there. If you make up your mind, and that's the one thing about any decision, if you can make up your mind with anything, you can do it. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how I feel right now. I'm just going to sit through that uncomfortability because have a drink of water and it'll go away.
Yeah.
And
It's just the power of manifesting. Very much like,
power of your mind. It's
yeah.
all a mind game.
Yeah, my parents, that's how I grew up. My parents, they did this silver thing, this methodology or whatever. And it's just the power of your mind. Like you sit in something, and you, instead of thinking that you want something, you believe that you have it. And it's very fascinating. And because they did that when my mum was pregnant with me, they have always just said to me that your power of manifesting is amazing. Like they just because I feel like subliminally it went through my mum into me as a
Oh, you were
kid.
listening to the whole thing.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
And I do think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I everything that I've achieved, I've wanted, but I've actively just believed that I had it. And I don't even think about it. It just, and then generally these things happen. Sometimes maybe not in the way that I think it might happen, but I end up where I want to be eventually. And I think back and I'm like, oh yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
Weird. And I
Yeah.
think you do the same thing.
It's interesting. I think I've had so many more failures than what people believe.
Oh, me too. Failures are the stepping stones to the place we need to be.
Yeah, interesting. I think the last 10 years maybe have been quite hard. Like doing the mental health stuff, that was really hard, but I stepped out of life to do that for a bit. But with the drag stuff, I think I just had disappointment after disappointment, and people have been really mean to me over the years, like just
Mm,
nasty. I think that's why I started DJing. So I'm like, where do I go with it? Nothing's really happening
yeah.
at all. I thought, well, maybe I'll start DJing and that might help get some momentum happening because I just really, it's hard for me to try and manifest what I want because there's that part of me that thinks, is it out there for me as a woman? Is it
Mm,
out there for me as a woman in my 50s? Is
mm,
it? And I think I'm questioning that so much. Yeah. And because our community has changed and the scene has changed, I'm like, where do I fit again?
yeah.
It's like, where are my opportunities? Where do I want to be?
Yeah. I don't think those questions and like they're very like I think they're things that are like are quite universal for a lot of people. So I hope you don't feel alone in that because I feel that all the time.
Yeah.
And so I want you to know that I'm always here for you, babes. Like I'm always here. But I hope that people like that those things are they come and especially in the times that we're living in now, that uncertainty, that feeling of what are we doing? I was talking about this with Riz the other day, Charisma Bell, and we're just feeling like, what is next? Where do we go? And even though I've done drag race and all that kind of stuff, yes, it's a great step or a platform. I get that. But then there's still that human in me that I'm like, what am I doing? What is my purpose? What is my meaning? Where do I go? Is there a place for me there? Or is there a place for me there? Because honestly, I think I have experienced so many more knockbacks in the last probably 3 years that I've ever experienced in my life. I did go from a privileged place of being able to go, I can do all these things and I was getting booked and whatever. I did drag race. I did not work. I barely worked for the first couple of years after drag race.
Yeah.
And I was reaching out because I was trying to get into this place, the mainstream and this, and they were my goals. And then I realized after the no's and no's and no's, I was like, you know what? I need to do the things that make me happy and what I want to do. So and I'm still working on that. That's why I'm working back again at clubs and doing all that. And I think there's an ego thing there as well. Like I've done the show, so I don't want to step back into clubs because I feel like I failed. But it makes me happy. It brings me joy,
And you're good at
Thank,
that show on Wednesday was amazing.
thank you, babe.
It was
But
amazing.
that's why I say to you is that I don't see you, Sexy Galaxy, as a failure or anything like that. And I know I'm not alone in that. We revere you, and I hope that there are so many people listening to this that we can just make sure that you feel all the love in the world because you bring joy. You're incredibly talented and fabulous at what you do. There's only one of you. There's only one of you, and it is sensational.
Thank you.
And I think you're making absolute magic. And even though like maybe the DJing wasn't on your vision board, I think that's something so special. The power, you love music, and you get to perform while you're up there and you're fabulous and it brings joy to a room. And that's just the next stepping stone to where you need to go next. I think I see you as very resilient and
Oh, I'm
very strong.
very resilient.
And
Yes.
I admire you for that. And I've always looked at you for that because you just power on and you just got this strength that you don't often see in people and it radiates from you.
Everybody has their hard knocks, and I think life is there to have an experience, and whatever that experience is, and it's what you do with that experience.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I love about life is that you don't know where that door's going to open.
Mm,
At the moment, my partner Kerry always says this to me: just keep practicing your DJ, just doing what you're doing, just show up ready.
yeah.
Okay?
Yes, that's exactly right. I think it's a great place to ask the question that I ask everybody now at the end of our little chats, because we've been on such a lovely journey, and I love hearing you because you're very wise, and I'm fascinated by you. I wish we could talk for hours. But I think the one thing that I want to do at the end of each episode is that we do talk about loss, and we do talk about some of these hard things. But from the things that you've lost and the hard experiences you've had in your life, what is that thing that you've found and that you hold dear? And maybe some advice for the people out there.
What have I found? You will be surprised when the worst day happens in your life that we have this inbuilt mechanism that rises us above it, and something holds our hand and we can get through it. I've had quite a few devastating things happen in my life, and it's like with practice, you're able to face those things more maturely as you go, and you can come out of the other side with that extra bit of knowledge and that understanding of something that's really deep, especially deep grief and deep loss. It changes you and makes you a stronger person, and getting through that pain, whether it's mental pain, physical pain, you can come out that other side as that new person, and that's where the resilience comes in. And especially if you're someone who's able to forgive a situation or forgive life or to forgive choices that ended up with whatever that loss is. I think forgiveness is an amazing thing. Forgiving yourself, forgiving others, forgiving the situation. I think it is the golden rule to growth and getting through any situation, because that's how you turn into the phoenix at the end of a dark day.
Sexy Galexy, what a way to finish. And I think you are the sparkliest, most gorgeous drag king phoenix in the world. Wow, that actually took my breath away. It got me a bit teary. Oh, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing stories with me and my audience. We appreciate it.
And I always, because we're both from Perth, I always have a little extra special little glow stick for you, because I just feel like we're family, because we're the
We
Perth
are.
kids.
Oh, don't feel like it, babes. We are family. We are the Perth kids, honestly. But it really warms my heart. And thank you for sharing everything you did with me today. Where can the people go and see you and follow you? Where would you like me to direct the audience?
This Wednesday, they've got to come down to West End Wednesdays at the University.
Yep. Sexy is on the decks. Press and play, being fabulous.
Sexy Galexy official.
Sexy Galexy official. Please, everyone, go and support Sexy. Go support your drag kings and hound the people and the powers that be. We need more drag kings in the world. Yes. But thank you for being here, my love. I love you. Adore you.
Love you too, darling.
We'll be back after this, everyone. Love you. My beautiful friends, what an incredible chat with Sexy Galexy. I need you all out to go out there and follow Sexy and just send Sexy all the love in the world. He's just an absolutely sensational drag king, and I'm honored to have him in my life. And I love you, Sexy, and thank you for those beautiful words. We need to put those on a t-shirt, honestly. Oh my God. But welcome to the segment I like to call Healing Hands, because I did a certificate 1 in Reiki. That means I can do hands-on healing. I didn't do the certificate 2, which is remote healing, but I'm going to forge it and I'm going to do remote healing here on the podcast. So I popped up a little story on my Instagram to see if anyone needed some advice or some help, because I feel like maybe the little wise Hannah, she can help you out. I have a couple of questions here actually, which I'm very excited to dive into. The first one is from Junix Dog. Said, what would you do if when you okay, so he said yes would go? I would do if he said yes, okay, yes, he would go. In that situation, I would say, please rephrase the question. I can't help that. I don't know what you're talking about, doll. So good luck with that. Good luck with whatever you're going through. I'm would love to help, but I'm just sending love through the screen. Good luck. And the second question, this one's a very deep one, and this is probably going to be the last question I take because I'm going to try and go in just a little bit on this one. It's from my beautiful sister, Vibe, who I've had on the podcast. Go listen to the episode if you haven't. From my beautiful sister, Vibe, from Drag Race Down Under. They ask how to remain severely gay in the face of world news getting darker and more depressing. Wow. What a question, especially in these last few weeks with all the stuff coming out of America. The world is a bloody shambles. And I stopped getting deep into the news cycle and watching news. I stopped watching it. And I just shut it all out for a little bit because I started to be overwhelmed and I wasn't functioning my best. So I let it go for a bit. And then recently, with everything going on in the world, I dived back in and I started watching the news again and was like, I've been inundated with it all. I've been reading articles, like trying to be a well-read human in the world. And I've realized something. Doing that and putting myself through that every day was filling me with this horrible sense of dread and doom. And I know I'm not alone in that feeling. I know people out there are probably doing the same thing. I want to be well read. I want to be aware of what's happening in the world, but I don't want to do that at the peril of my own sanity and my own mental health. So I am having a break from it. I want the only news that I consume for the next few weeks to be the news of my little life. I want to enjoy my life. And until it's bashing on my door and there's something that I really need to think about, which I suppose you could say we need to think about these things, but I don't have that capacity in me. I can't do it. And I'm not going to do it. And I'm saying I am backing out of the news cycle. I am going to focus on the things that I can control and the things that I need to do in my life. I can't be worrying about that anymore. I can't do it. And I'm not going to do it. And this is, yes, we need to be good Samaritans and we need to be good people in the world. But sometimes that means we have to step back. We need to recharge our batteries. I need to not do it. I can't do it. And I'm not going to do it because I only want to focus on the things that I can directly change in my life right now. And there's not much I need to change because I love my life. I'm loving the things that I'm doing. I'm finding joy in the things I'm doing. And the joy that I was finding in things in my life was being sucked away, and I'm not doing it anymore. I am not. I want to enjoy my life. I want to have fun. I want to be able to go out and be with the people I love and sit at home on the couch with my husband and my dog and love it and not feel an overwhelming sense of dread and doom, and I'm not doing it. We'll say if you are starting to feel like you are over consuming and you are diving into these things and you are being doom scrolling and you're being a glutton for punishment, get off, stop it, have a break, rest your mind. You're allowed to do that because we need to focus on the things we can control. And right now we can't because he's voted in. The orange man's in there. He's doing all these things. We can't control that. He's there. It is what it is. So we got to play the cards that we're dealt, but we got to play them strong. And the only way we can do that is if we're healthy and charged and in control of our lives. So that is how I am staying gay in this world. So there you go. Oh my God, I got very deep there, everyone. Jesus Christ. I hope that helps. But for now, I'm going to leave you and I'm going to go to work because I'm a working woman of the game and I'm having fun doing shows and performing. And I hope you're doing something that you love because you deserve it. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening to this episode of What Loss Got to Do with It. It brings me joy knowing you're out there. I just love you and I thank you. So look after yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to the people around you and treat yourself. Be fabulous. And I will be back again with another episode of What's Lost Got to Do with It very soon. Make sure you go follow Sexy Galexy. My name's Hanaconda, and I will see you in the next one. I love you, everyone. Bye.
Are you feeling stuck in your career or lacking employment at the moment? Experiencing symptoms of job dissatisfaction? You might be suffering from a common condition known as career stagnation. But don't worry, there's a solution. Monster.com. Monster.com offers a comprehensive suite of career-boosting tools designed just for you. Our free resume review and AI interview prep tool will help you stand out from the crowd. Need more guidance? Dive into our career advice articles for expert tips and insights. And don't forget to check out our salary tools to ensure you're getting paid what you're worth. Side effects may include a new job, increased confidence, and a brighter future. Consult Monster.com today and take the first step towards your new career. Ready for your next job opportunity? Visit Monster.com now.